Hello and welcome to the dungeon. I'm your host Rob. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the College of Dance Bard UA from the I believe it's Playtest 6 we're on now. I've had a few requests for this one, and this particular subclass looks really fun. It also looks like it might be a little too good, so I wouldn't be surprised if it got a few tweaks and changes, but it looks pretty awesome. Not quite as awesome as the thumbnail looks, but that's okay. That looks awesome for different reasons. Anyways, so level 3, you're going to choose your Bard subclass. Obviously, we're choosing College of Dance because we wouldn't be here and because it's awesome. And, I kind of alluded to the subclass in my last monk video when I complained about monks still not really getting the kind of fixes I was kind of hoping for. Well, we're going to revisit that when we look at the College of Dance Bard and review the fact that the College of Dance Bard has a lot of the same things as the monk, plus full spell casting on top of that. Just keep that in mind. Poor monks. Anyways, level 3, we're going to get Dazzling Footwork. So, while not wearing armor or using a shield, we're going to get Unarmored Defense. Kind of like the monk gets. Although, to be fair, we are getting a level 3. But anyways, so your armor class is going to be 10, plus your Dex mod, plus your Charisma mod. This is pretty good because, you know, as a bard, you're going to have great charisma, and Dex is usually like your number 2 stat, so not too bad. We're also going to get Agile Strikes. So when you expand Bardic Inspiration as part of an action, a bonus action, or a reaction, you may make one unarmed strike as part of that action, bonus action, or reaction, right? So, you know, it's my turn, or maybe it's my ally's turn even. I'm using my reaction and spending a Bardic Inspiration to help them in some way. I can also like punch somebody who's close to me. Now granted, this isn't as good as the monk who can just do it all the time. I have to be spending resources of some sort. So, you know, I don't think it's fair to say that this is better than monk. It's not. But it's kind of in monk territory. For your damage for this, you use your dexterity instead of your strength mod, and your damage roll is done with your Bardic Inspiration die, not with your regular unarmed damage. And it doesn't expend your die either. So basically, think of it as like a monk's unarmed strike, how they have their, you know, martial arts die, and that's what they use. You use your Bardic Inspiration die for when you're making these attacks, instead of whatever your regular dice would be, but you're not spending Bardic Inspiration to do it. Although you are spending it in order to get the ability to make this attack. I just want to point out, though, there are level ranges where your Bardic Inspiration die will be better than a monk's unarmed defense or unarmed attack die, martial arts die, at the same level. So, again, it's not actually better because you're spending resources. You can't do it all the time. But when you do it, it does probably make the monk feel a little bit worse about his life choices. Anyways, at level 3, we get Inspiring Movement. So, when an enemy that you can see ends their turn within 5 feet of an ally who's within 60 feet of you, then you can use your reaction and your Bardic Inspiration to move half your move speed. Your ally then moves 5 times the roll of your Bardic Inspiration die, and none of this creates opportunity attacks. So we got a lot of numbers and math in there. It's a little confusing, but basically, you know, you're here, your ally's over here, the enemy ends here next to your ally within 5 feet of them. So you're 60 feet away from your ally or less. The enemy ends his turn within 5 feet of your poor wizard because nobody saw it coming and they came at us from behind. It was a trap. You can use your Bardic Inspiration and your reaction to help the wizard move out of danger, and you can move towards the danger to try to like intercept it, and none of it creates opportunity attacks. So, not too bad, really. I don't know that it's a like spectacular ability, but you know we've all seen worse. That's for sure. I don't think it's awful by any means. I like the extra mobility and the fact that I can help out squishier or more vulnerable companions, or even like really high value, like tough, you know, frontliners who might just like, you know, you got your paladin in there and the enemies roll like back-to-back crits, and suddenly your paladin realizes that, you know, she's at like 9 hit points or something, and you're like, maybe I'll help her back out and she can lay hands herself and then she can get back in again. You know, I like the fact that you've have a bit of that sort of combat situational repositioning. It is very nice, especially when you're using things like maps and combat mats and stuff. Then positioning things gets really, really tricky sometimes. So not too bad, and no opportunity attacks. So even better. Anyways, at level 6, we get leading evasion, which is basically evasion but better. So you know what monks and rogues get, but better. So evasion, basically, if you're taking damage from some sort of like AoE attack, allows you a dexterity save for half. If you make the save, you instead take half, or take nothing, and if you fail, you take half. So it's basically just better. This is the same exact thing, right? So you get hit with a Dragon's Breath weapon, it's a dexterity save. If you make it, you take half. If you fail, you take full. But you have a leading evasion, so if you succeed, you take nothing, and if you fail, you take half. But you can also share this ability with allies within 5 feet of you. Now, I realize that 5 feet isn't a very big range. Usually you're going to be lucky to have maybe one other ally, if you're fortunate. But that's still better than evasion, which doesn't affect any allies. So even if you only get yourself plus one other person, it's already better than what evasion is. So funny. Poor monks. You also get the level 6 ability, Tandem Footwork. For some reason, College of Dance doesn't get a 10th level ability. I don't know why, but maybe it's because they get so many at 3 and 6. Either way, though, well, I guess they only have 2 at 3, but whatever. Most people get that. But anyways, at level 6, you're also getting Tandem Footwork. So when you roll initiative, you can use one of your Bardic Inspiration die and choose any number of creatures within 60 feet of yourself up to your Charisma modifier. And that can include yourself as well. All the creatures you chose get to add that Bardic Inspiration die to their initiative rolls. I really like this ability because there are certain fights where if your party goes fast enough, like you can just kill all or most of the enemies or just disable them with like crowd control effects or whatever before they even have a chance to do anything. Like there's a reason why alert is a great feat. And yes, being able to, detect when things are invisible around you and not having disadvantage, that's nice, but it's pretty situational. The main thing is people want the +5 to their initiative, Being able to add your Bardic Inspiration die to basically the entire party, right? Let's be honest, that's usually going to be the case, especially if you've been keeping up with your Charisma bonuses, which I imagine you have since you're a full caster. Being able to add like an extra 5 or 6 to everybody's initiative, pretty good. Now, granted, Jack of all trades no longer adds bonuses to your initiative. Otherwise, you'd be like super fast because you probably got decent decks. Then you've got this. You used to have in 5th edition Jack of all trades on top of that, but no longer the case. But even still, I really like this a lot. Speed kills in not just D&D, but most games, to be honest, and being able to like boost everybody's initiative up really big like that on a, especially if you're worried, this could be a tough fight. That's a good ability, and it's level 6. That's pretty early. So unless it was a misprint and they meant level 10, but we can only go with what they printed. Anyways, level 14, your final ability, Irresistible Dance. So you always have the Auto's Irresistible Dance spell prepared, and you can cast it without expending a spell slot once per long rest, like once per day. You can also restore this by spending 4 uses of your Bardic Inspiration and no action required. So, number 1, Bardic Inspiration, by now, like when you first start out, it's coming back on a long rest, but this is one of the other mechanics that kept the short rest tag that, we thought might be kind of disappearing, but, in this case, no. So when you hit level 5, you get the ability to recharge all your Bardic Inspiration on a short rest. So I think this ability is actually pretty good. I've heard a few people complaining about it, like, 4 Bardic Inspiration is way too much, it's way too high. It's like, yeah, but if you're able to use this spell, and then you're going to take a short rest after anyways, you could spend your 4 Bardic Inspiration, get the spell back again, and then just rest and get all your Bardic Inspiration. And now you've got a second use of it. Maybe even a third or a fourth, depending on how many short rests you manage to get. So I don't think that's bad at all. Obviously, if you're not going to be able to get a short rest and get those bardic inspiration back, then 4 is a lot. And I probably, if I don't know I'm going to be able to get them back, I might not do it. Although Irresistible Dance is a great spell, so who knows. But just saying that is a high cost, but it's only high if you're not going to be able to refuel it. Otherwise, it's basically nothing. So I actually think that this is a lot better than some people are giving it credit for. And Irresistible Dance is a great spell. Like there's no saving throw against your initial casting of the spell. They have to use all their movement dancing and can't really go anywhere. Like, granted, it's no force cage, let's be honest, right? But it's a pretty strong spell, and just having it always prepared, casting it once plus however many other times per day without a spell slot, this is pretty nice. Not to mention, of course, it's incredibly thematic. So, to sum up, you have a class that has some nice mobility. It has the ability to help allies with their mobility as well and reposition each other in case people are in a dangerous spot. I like that. You've got the initiative boost for yourself and your allies. I like that. You've got some defensive boost with your what's it called? Leading evasion. There we go. Where you get evasion, but you can also grab somebody else and pull them out of danger with you. Or maybe you started twerking in front of them and that somehow protected them from the dragon's breath. Let's not think about it too much. And then you've got Irresistible Dance on top of that. To me, this seems like a really, really solid subclass. And like I said, this is all on top of the Bard, who's already a really solid class to begin with. And, full casting progression. It is pretty good. Unarmored Defense, like I said, Unarmored Defense usually is a pretty good ability at really low levels when you haven't had time to save up and get really good armor yet. However, for the Bard, if you're going to be restricted to light armor usually anyways, unless you're swords or valor or whatever, right? Then you're not really giving up much. You are getting your charisma bonus added now, which is probably going to be better. So you're probably going to have better armor class than a lot of other Bards do. And most of the weaknesses and disadvantages we see seem to have been taken care of by the class and subclass features themselves, and you're just left with something that has some nice utility, great spell casting, nice movement, some good defensive abilities in combat, even a bit of extra damage from your unarmed strikes. So overall, I think the College Dance not only looks fun, but feels very thematic and flavorful, and seems pretty awesome. I also have to say that it was a very, very strong temptation to just fill this video with lots of clips of hot Korean girls dancing, because K-pop's a thing these days. But I managed to resist the temptation, except for the thumbnail. So you should all be proud of me for that, because that was quite the sacrifice. Anyways, that's everything. Please leave me your thoughts. I'd love to see your comments and what other people think about this subclass. Personally, I think it just looks like a lot of fun, and I would actually really, really like to try this. As always, feel free to like, subscribe, ring the bell for notification. Most importantly, leave comments in the comment section, and I'll see you next time. Bye.